Good afternoon. I'm Senator Dean Florez, and I appreciate you taking the time to participate and listen to California's first ever announcement for a statewide office live on the internet. Today, I am officially announcing my candidacy for Lieutenant Governor of the state of California. And I think it's appropriate as a new face to statewide office that I make this announcement using the most powerful and game-changing medium in our society today, the internet. The goal of today's announcement is to make this interactive. That means it's an interactive press conference. I want you to react. I want you to talk to us, what you like, what you don't like. I want you to send your questions and make sure that we can answer your questions as we move this press conference forward. As the Senate Majority Leader, I've been doing this type of exchange for many years, and today should be no different. Many of you have seen me over the last decade take on the bureaucrats and those who are, in essence, keeping our state where it's at. But you should know that the changes we need will all come about for one reason. They'll come about because of you. It was you who asked me, in many cases, to look into why something didn't work, why government was so unresponsive, why the state seemed to be tone deaf to the problems that Californians face. Today's no different. Today, in fact, is my first job interview for Lieutenant Governor of the state of California. And you get an opportunity, a front row seat, to ask me the questions that you think you want in your Lieutenant Governor and hopefully get the answers you deserve. Now, most of you know I'm a native Californian, and like most of you, I love California. I love the people. I love the fact that we are different, that we have diversity, that we have energy, and of course our innovation. And of course I love the weather. We are in fact the most amazing people on the planet in my view. But I also know that with this great state and the energy it has, that drive cannot continue unless we speak honestly about the problems that we have in this state and start to hold government more accountable. To do this, we have to have leaders that aren't afraid to stir things up, to shake the tree. We need someone to tell it like it is, to take on the powerful, those who love the status quo and benefit from the current dysfunctional nature of state government should fear us. In fact, I believe we need a new face at the statewide level, someone who can see a new California. As Lieutenant Governor, I think it's time to talk about our vision for the future, what we see in store for this great state 10, 20, 30 years from now. I encourage you to go through the issues posted on my new website, Unveiled Today. You're going to find issues ranging from a healthcare system that just isn't universal, but online. With electronic health records streamlined to reduce cost, it's clear you're going to see that we need telemedicine clinics for the miracles that can be created through the internet, things like mammograms that are long overdue. You should know that we need an IT healthcare vision, something for this state that connects doctors and patients and creates new cost-effective approaches to medicine. And as we plan for the future of education, it's clear that our educational system has to be restructured to allow a transition to green technology, which I'm proud to say President Pro Tem Darrell Steinberg and I are working on as we speak. In fact, our entire caucus is working on this issue, and we're excited to talk about education and a green technology. You should also know that our schools and universities are the windows for this adaptation, the very medium you're looking at today. But we have to have the tools to make the internet environment work, to make lectures that are accessible on demand. We can provide college students, as you know, with affordable textbooks, something they can go online for. And more importantly, I see a vision for our universities and colleges where they can self-design their own college degrees. This is the future. And I hope you know that we are going to work very, very hard in this position for the next 4 to 8 years to make sure we bring California into this new future. Now, I know that you first are saying we have to solve the current budget crisis, that the structural issues that are before us are very, very important and need our immediate attention. I can tell you that there's no doubt that the problems at the state, which I hopefully plan to continue to work on as Lieutenant Governor, will be our priority. We've had over 200 oversight hearings during my time in the legislature. I've learned firsthand that sometimes our government just doesn't work. Sometimes, in fact, it gets in the way. Take, for example, the folks who are still out of work waiting to speak to someone about their unemployment checks, waiting for someone from the unemployment office to reach them. Money that they paid into a system for years, and now in their time of need, they can't get a person on the phone or simply someone to call them back. We had a hearing on this a few days ago. We brought in the bureaucrats and we asked them the question, Why are people in their time of need not getting their phone calls returned? And I gotta tell you, it was shocking to hear the bureaucrats hide and cower behind excuses that we've heard for so many years about government. We need to turn this system upside down, and there's nothing wrong with taking on the bureaucrats and the governor's office to make sure this system for the unemployed works. That's why I think it's important to have the right people in statewide office to help lead our state, especially during these uncertain times. We need a new set of leaders, those at the statewide levels that can tell you honestly, look taxpayers in the eyes and say, we will get things done. This has been my entire career in the California State Legislature. I think we need people who work hard every day. Working hard to fix the issues, working hard to make sure Californians are heard, and more importantly, just working hard. I think that's what Californians expect from their elected officials. For example, I think we need to continue to talk about and work very hard on the water crisis before Californians. It's clear without reliable water, food will be tougher to produce, communities throughout the state will vanish, and our jobs will be lost, and so will our opportunities. That's why we've introduced a water bond this session, a bond that hopefully, with the help of my colleagues in the California State Legislature and our Pro Tem Darrell Steinberg, will have meaningful, long-lasting change for water policy in this state. Our water policy was built on a California that had only 18 million Californians in it. Today we have 38. In a few years we'll be at 50 million Californians. It's clear that California needs a water bond to fix our infrastructure and keep these jobs in our state. I also want you to know that we continue to work hard on food safety. That's the food you and I put on our plate every day. In fact, I was fortunate enough to have the Pro Tem reformulate the Food and Ag Committee, because now we are talking about not just food policy, but we're talking about the safety of food, the distribution of food, the consumption issues that go with food. It's clear to me that we can't continue to have this cycle of recall after recall, of people getting sick from the food that they eat. You all know what's happened in this state over the last few years. Spinach recalls, beef recalls, pistachios this morning, rocket fuel, and baby food. We need to make sure that our food is safe, and we need to make sure that the industries are listening. I can tell you that my work in the legislature in terms of pesticides is going to be top priority. I can tell you that in this new committee, that the way we treat our animals is also a major focus of our work. It's not that we cannot change the fact and the way that Sacramento works. The question is, will we have the will? And I can tell you that we will not forget about those who toil in our fields, the farm workers. We can provide them with a decent wage. We can provide them with a safe working environment. My entire career in the legislature, we have fought to make sure that we weren't putting 21 farm workers in a 9-person van. We were making sure that farm workers had the same protections as any other California traveling to and from work. We made sure we got rid of those wooden benches. We made sure that they were as protected from pesticide spraying and drift as any other Californian. And more importantly, we finally negotiated with the governor's office heat regulations that simply gave them adequate shade, adequate water, and more importantly, a rest period, so we would not have the deaths in the field that we continue to see in the Central Valley. I want you to know that the jobs that we have looked at and the things we have worked on in the legislature, the things that we have focused on have been things like clean air. In 2003, I took on big industry and passed 5 historic clean air laws signed by the governor that finally told agriculture, big agriculture, that it needed to participate in lowering the asthma rates in an area that had the highest asthma rate anywhere in the nation. I get tired, like you do, of big companies ignoring their air pollution and somehow simply saying sick kids get sick for another reason. Our asthma rates in California are way too high. I was very happy that the governor signed those bills and that they are now law, and hopefully we will start seeing kids taking backpack to school rather than inhalers in their pockets. I can tell you that our children rely on us to invest in their public education as well. We can put computers in all of our classrooms, but more importantly, we need to put computers in their homes. Californians are ready and their children are ready to take on the challenges of a changing world. But we need to think more critically about how to connect school, home, through the internet, via computer, and make this a workable system for our children. And we can't forget about the economy and jobs. Government can help by making good budget decisions, that is true. But we also need to offer incentives where they're needed, and we need to make sure that the workers, the very workers that are making California move every single day, are protected, and more importantly, that they can organize freely. I can tell you that unless we create these opportunities, taxpayers are not going to have confidence in their government. And they will not have confidence in our government until it's been being held accountable. Over the years, we have worked on this challenge. I think I've mentioned earlier, we've had hearing after hearing, grilling government officials, and every time I've invited the public to join me in this effort, they have responded with a very positive yes. And at every hearing, it's been a very public participation by everyday people voicing their frustration with government, and I can tell you that they were truly the force of change. A few years ago, I challenged our government over a dubious computer contract that was costing our state millions of dollars. I sought the truth, went so far as to challenge the sitting governor at the time. I held over 100 hours of hearings, and quite frankly, we didn't really like what was unveiled, and neither did the public, who supported our efforts. But we did what was right for the taxpayers, and with your support, we got the government to cancel this huge, crooked computer contract and saved the state of California millions of dollars. So once again, I'm turning to you, the public. You've never let me down. Wherever I've gotten in trouble with the Sacramento elite or the shot callers, I've always turned to you, the public, and you've responded with a force that not only holds government accountable, but helps steer me in the right direction, the path in terms of making government work for you. I want you to know that I would like to serve as your lieutenant governor. I'd love to serve in the capacity of working hard every single day to make change in this state. As a constitutional officer, I will be able to independently hold government accountable. The lieutenant governor can speak with a loud voice if he chooses to. The lieutenant governor can and must weigh in and be visible and be a force to be reckoned with. I don't take lightly that this is a role, somehow a second role for a government official. The lieutenant governor can have a tremendous impact. The lieutenant governor, at the end of the day, has a job. And that job is to fight for you every day without the politics, without the political restraint, and without the business as usual attitude. We need new faces at statewide level. I hope that you'll give me that opportunity as your next lieutenant governor.